Alright, what is up, fellow war gamers? It's Paul, and I'm back from my vacation. It's actually been a week since school started, and I've been back. I got some food poisoning, which really sucked from Vietnam. But anyways, here is a video hitting you guys in the face, and thank you for being so patient. This is a video on how to paint a Kroot carnivore, and this is purely my take on how to paint Kroot carnivores. You guys don't really necessarily have to use the same colors I use. You guys can use whatever rocks your boat. Now, note in mind that the video is sped up to 16 times, and just to speed up the process. And in addition to that, the sound quality towards the end of the video will be a little bit lower. I'll almost be kind of whispering because it's 3 o'clock in the morning when I was filming, and we were almost about to leave for Japan, and my cousin was still sleeping. He was getting his last couple hour or so of rest before we board the plane. So here it is. Thanks for tuning in, and right now I'm going to actually be doing a scenic base for it, for these 5 Kroots. For Peter, this is going to be for Peter, and there's going to be 5 Kroots on the scenic base. These are not done yet completely. I still have to highlight them one final time, but there's going to be 5 Kroot and a wounded Imperial Guardsman on a scenic base. So essentially the Kroot will be searching for the wounded Imperial Guardsman, and yeah, that's going to be for Peter. I haven't done the bases for these models yet because I'm actually going to design the base first and kind of map out where all these types of terrains and such are going to be before I actually put it on the base to actually match the base that I'm going to be putting them on. So that about does it. I'm actually taking apart in a side project that my girlfriend and I are doing, where she chose a box of models, and these are grots because she found them to be cartoonish and very cute. And we're going to be painting them soon. I just got them primered, and we assembled them together, and yeah, stay tuned for those videos. Well, catch you guys in the next videos. Thanks for watching. Laters. Alright, what's up, War Gamers? Today we're going to be slogging through the holidays with some Kroot, and today I'm going to show you guys how to paint step by step a Kroot warrior, and this is going to be my shaper. So as you can see, I'm not at my humble abode. I'm at my Cusco's house, and we have Cusco. Say what's up. And we have his lovely lady friend here, and these 2 lovebirds will be accompanying me today while I do my nerdy stuff, third wheeling it. Okay, so the first color we're going to use is Death World Forest, and this is the base color, so you can just slap it on, and the end result will be something similar to this. And as you can see, I have the paint on get a wet palette, and you can get the same idea by watching one of Warboss Tay's videos, Get a Wet Palette. And to keep the paint on a manageable consistency, we use Thinner Medium by Vallejo. Now we're going to paint the leather bits with Morphine Brown, and of course we're going to thin it down with some Cinder Medium. And the finished result should look something like this. You can just slap it on, and it doesn't have to be really pretty.
Alright guys, now we're going to do all the metal parts with lead belcher, and it's going to look a bit like this, your finished results. And we're going to mix it up with a little bit of water instead of what was it, thinner medium. So after we use lead belcher, we move on to Balthazar Gold for the copper bits, and again we're going to thin it down with water to a manageable consistency, and here we go. And the end result will actually look like that. There's not going to be a lot. Most of the time it's going to be the buttstock and possibly if he's holding a knife, the handles of the knife. So what we're going to be using next is drying that bark and thin it down with thin and medium for all the hair bits on his head, as well as the spikes on his bars. And the finished result should look something like this. We're still on base coats, and right after this we'll be doing shades. It says, okay, so we're gonna start moving on to the shades right now. And the thing I did before this was I painted the pack on him in Rakarth Flesh. So if you guys have that, you guys can use that for the packs. I found that it kind of suits the color of the pack very well as a base. And then we're going to do the shades now. And this is a model with all the shades. And it's very grim dark so far. So yeah, the main shades that we're going to be using are Athonian Camel Shade for the skins, Nuln Oil for the silver areas on his guns, most preferably, and Seraphim Sepia for these the backpacks, the leather backpacks, or you can also use it for the leather bits. If you don't want a dark as a leather as I am going for. And then finally Agrax Earthshade for the leather parts. Now you can also use Seraphim Sepia if you don't want to go as dark as I am with the leather. And but also we're also using the Agrax Earthshade for the back parts of the gun. So first off, we're gonna go off with Athonian Camel Shade for the skin.
Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to start the highlights after the washes. So what we're going to use is Strachan Green, and we're going to water it down with 1 drop of water, and that's going to be on my Get a Wet palette. And what we're going to highlight is all the raised areas, and we want to keep as little paint on our brush as possible, to almost a little bit above a dry brush amount. And I'm just using a standard base coat brush, and the end result will look something like this. As you can see, the transition will be a little bit more smoother. This was just a kind of a test model for me, but this was what it will look like. It will bring the green a little bit more vibrant. Alright, so next up we're going to edge highlight with ochre camo, and I watered it down to a manageable consistency with water, and it's very crucial that this highlight is very fine, and you don't have a lot of paint on your paintbrush. And if need be, you can go over it again, cover up the edges and clean it up a bit with Strachan Green again. Okay, here's what the skin should look like after the edge highlights. I did use a base coat brush for this, and I kept the paint very thin and very little tiny bits of paint on my paintbrush at all times. So that's how it should be after edge highlighting. And now we're going to move on to the leather bits again. I'm going to touch it up. Since I wanted a darker leather, I went over it twice with Acra Earthshade. So it's going to be a very dark, rich leather, and we're going to basically highlight the raised areas and leave the darker color in the crevices. And it's a very little bits of highlighting here and there on the leather parts, so it's not going to be much. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some more thin brown. Now you can thin this down with some medium or water, but I don't have my medium with me because I misplaced it. So after that, we're going to move over to the pack, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to touch it up with some Ushakti bone, and we're going to leave the natural color and the washed color back in the recesses, to give it kind of a natural shading type of look. Okay, so let's get started. So now
that you've seen this. We hardly did anything to the leather. All I did was just lightly touch it up here and there in some spots, because as you know, leather is not completely one color. Sometimes it has some darker areas and such, and so I left most of it as is, and some parts of it I just went lightly over it again with some Mornfang brown. And then for the backpack, I went over it with the Ushabti bone, and I kind of left a very natural kind of shading in the crevices and such. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over the metal parts. We're going to edge highlight the silver parts with Runefang steel, and then we're just going to go over the copper parts again with some Balthazar gold again. We're just going to edge highlight all the metal parts, and then when we come back, we're going to do the hair, and then just some little minute details here and there, such as the eyes, and then we'll be done. Alright now, so since we did that, I didn't really do much to the metal parts. All I did was just kind of brushed it along the sides and did a little bit of edge highlighting here and there for the copper bits, and then for the silver parts, I did a kind of a brush along the edges to kind of make it look like it's really worn down, because as you know, the Kroot's weaponry aren't very pristine. So now we're going to do the hair, and to start off, we're going to paint along the back edges back here with some Mornfang brown, and then we're going to touch the very edge of the tips with some Karak stone. Alright, so here's the model completely finished, 100% finished, and as you can see, that's how the hair should look, or it's what, according to me, how it should look to me. And what I did for the braids was I used some Temple Guard blue, and then I highlighted it up with Lothern blue. And same thing for the feather as well. I did a Temple Guard blue base, and now you can either wash it with, I think it was Dragonhof Nightshade, or you can wash it with Gnome oil. I washed it with Gnome oil because I didn't have Dragonhof Nightshade with me at the time. And then I just kind of lightly brushed the bottom area right there with some Lothern blue. So it kind of has a nice transition to it. So all in all, that about does it. And thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video where I do the scenic base for which these guys will be standing on. Alright, later. Happy working.